Another day, another fight. We have Slaking just released, and in addition to that, there was an update that fixed some bugs, but more importantly, introduced a species and items clause. So you are no longer able to bring 6 Metagross if you wanted to do that previously. This is my team set up. Because the item clause, you have to get a little bit more creative with items. I'm doing choice band fist plate. Plates now have an interesting market due to that item change. We have a tailwind coming in. I was really banking on my teammates setting up screens. Don't have screens. Slaking starts off with a +2 special defense. It's not that necessary. We do have the tailwind coming in, so I will just haze anyway to get that special defense out of the way. That'll pave the way for my Uniclus, but I'm really hoping that I take a Thunderbolt there. Yeah, so we can start off with the moveset too. Slaking carries Thunderbolt, Earthquake, Giga Impact, and I forget the fourth. It'll come up. Metagross is going to be a solid pick. I don't know about the Hone Claws lead from my friend here, but I do like Hone Claws on it in general. We don't have Reflect or Burn Up, which is going to be really, really problematic for its initial damage. Hopefully these Metagross stay alive. My goal right now is probably just going to be to keep them alive. You know, the fight can play out very differently depending on how your teammates come in a solo queue. Obviously, if you're coordinating, things change a lot. You could just probably ignore that special defense bonus and bring a lot of fighting type damage types, but I thought it would be really good value to just haze immediately and get that special defense out of the way for the whole fight. Now we'll just go into screens. You know, it's kind of a toss up there, whether you want to set screens or whatever. I just wanted to haze immediately, so I'm not like wiping my teammates. You know, that Hone Clause is effectively off the board now if I bring in the Murkrow at this point. We sacrifice the Togekiss. Ends up being okay. Going to set Reflect with Light Clay. And then that should mitigate a lot of damage. We'll see if the Sableye survives. Then we're in a pretty good place to set Wisp, and we're chilling for a little while. That's a lot of damage mitigation on the Slaking. Unfortunate for the Breloom. Yeah, the Murkrow, if you don't lead with it, is still pretty good. Defog isn't all that useful here, but Tailwind is a good option. You can also run Fake Tears super cheap to directly remove the Slaking special defense bonus, but I thought at that point I'd rather just lead with Haze, not change my moveset around all that much. And so we do live. We get to hopefully put a Wisp on Slaking. Oh gosh, who poisoned him? I was not paying attention. That's on me. I'm throwing. Don't record videos and play this game at the same time. It's really difficult. Wouldn't recommend. Yeah, I also really wouldn't recommend poisoning Slaking at all. You really need the Wisp damage prevention, and you're just going to start watching our Pokemon drop as is. So hopefully this EQ takes me out. There is a focus energy at some point. So all of the Crit Me Not sweepers, Crit Me Not being the setup sweepers like Reuniclus, are at increased risk, Metagross included. They're at increased risk for taking a crit and then having that damage go straight through. So our safety net right there, unfortunately, lost having that Metagross core, that chunky Metagross core. That's what the fourth move is, Ice Punch. I really wouldn't recommend bringing Dragon Flying types. Dragonite, Altaria, Gliscor also is going to have a problem with this fight. That Ice Punch is just going to do so much damage. So maybe like a hardened Gliscor can start mitigating enough damage fast enough, but I'm really annoyed that I can't Wisp. The light screen is still useful because Slaking is technically a mixed attacker, so you do have a bit of mixed attacks coming from the ads as well. So we do get this both screen setups. I'm in an interesting position now where I have to make a decision, something to switch into. I might just pick one of my fighting types. So the way that I'm kind of structuring a team is I want a Pokemon that can carry, and that's my Reuniclus, and I want a lot of utility as well, so I have the option to switch into things. So I've got the Sableye, I've got the Murkrow. Both can get moves off pretty reliably if they're swapped in directly. I suppose we've got Wild Charge. I'm afraid that if I go straight into the Reuniclus, I'm going to eat a Giga Impact and immediately faint because the AI is going to see a huge HP pool that it can just deplete. I'll toss a Burn on the other Slaking ad. No, I won't. This is not a great start. And at the very least, we did get that special defense down for our friends Typhlosion to start doing some increased damage. That's where in solo queue I'm kind of prioritizing that, just because I'm probably going to see an eclectic group of Pokemon, and just maximizing that much more damage over the course of the fight is going to be super useful. It really does not want to take me out between I guess we're just seeing a lot of stuff on the field that the AI just likes more of. So I think I'm going to hard swap into Glade. I would be a little upset if the Glade instantly faints, but I'd rather get something on the field that's immediately going to start getting an impact. But I would be more upset if I lost to Uniclus, because that's sort of like my win condition. The Glade could potentially, just based on the setup, or based on its lack of need for a setup, could start doing a bunch of damage, or it could just immediately die if the AI chooses to take it out. We might get away with it here, though. There's a Giga Impact on the Salamence crit. Unfortunate. And do we lose Tailwind? I think we lost Tailwind, yeah. So this Glade might not get a move up next turn, which is fine. I may... There's the status ailment gone. One thing that you're going to start wanting to do is putting useful moves throughout your lineup, rather than having all of your utility kind of compressed to your Sableye, let's say. Putting Wisp on something in your lineup would be huge. Fitting a Pokemon that carries Wisp that's also able to do some big damage, so that in this situation, Wisp is down, and you have that Pokemon in. You don't have to swap around to get to it. We have another... Okay, so I'm still liking what we have from the team. Another Glade coming out is good. I just don't know if we're going to get the Sacred Sword off. Eruption doing decent damage. I mean, if you've got nothing else and the Species Clause is hurting you, that's a fine move. You're outspeeding the Slaking, which is big. My Glade evidently is too slow. Might be the level and the crit anyway. So we'll go back into... I don't want to go back to Sableye yet, just because I'm going to stall really hard like we did. The Slaking just did not want to take the Sableye out. 50% coming up, we will have a Thunder Wave. So I might play around that and just go to the Scizor. Just because I don't want to get a status on any of the remaining Pokemon there. We'll just click Close Combat. Pretty much anything with Close Combat is going to do some pretty big damage. Fighting Gem is also super useful, especially like it was kind of a watch between Fighting Gem and Fighting Plate. I'm kind of trying to, anticipate. I'm probably expecting this Scizor to die pretty quickly. And it doesn't even get a move off. That's great. Big impact to Typhlosion. That's going to be gone. And we're going to lose Reflect. We got one more turn of it. Not the worst. Sacred Sword doing some pretty big damage. Another Giga Impact coming in. It's probably the end of the Glade. It's just kind of a DPS race between you and the boss, basically. Only 3% with the Fighting Plate. It's not great, but not going to do all that much better. Getting something with a Fighting Stab type would be good. See what our teammates do here. At this point, I just have no choice but to just keep clicking Close Combat. And it might be worth it in some cases to PP max that. This is a PvP Scizor, so got plenty to work with if need be. Now we're kind of seeing the gym run Pokemon come in, it looks like. But yeah, overall, in terms of how the fights change, a lot of new interesting items are in play because of the items clause. Species clause definitely forces a lot more interesting Pokemon into play. You can't just bring two Sableyes to set screens anymore. You'll have to use other Pokemon. There are plenty of other good screen setters. Raichu, Electrode, to name a few. Interesting prankster Pokemon. There's Murkrow. There's Whimsicott. You can do some creative stuff with, like setting up Whimsicott. Leech Seed for yourself. This Garchomp probably just can't find the Earthquake button. I don't know what's happening here. Really hope that we don't get stalled out by an AFK. That would be rough. So the overall goal here is to just keep clicking close combat and wait for this Scizor to die. I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon, though. So we got to see. I really just don't want our team to run out of Pokemon before I'm even able to get a Step Sweeper in. You know, could have probably gone to Reuniclus earlier on that Scizor pick and just eaten the Thunder Wave. It may be worth it as a Solar Cuber if you've got something with Heal Bell on it to consider. There's another 4x Ice Weakness, you know, your Garchomps, and all of those are not going to be that good with the Ice Punch coverage, unfortunately. And another 3.3. So we're chipping it down on good pace here. Because I didn't get the Reuniclus in early, it's probably going to be the least useful, though it does have that Reflect, so we'll see what happens. If Scizor ends up staying in this whole time, it'll be pretty funny. It might then, it could be just that the typing that it has will cause the AI to not want to target it. If you were to get an Infernape on your side, though, that's a totally different story. You're done. Yeah, there's another 4x weakness. Didn't get the Ice Punch memo in time, but probably their first time on the fight anyway, so everybody's got to learn at some point. Let that be a lesson to you all watching that you don't want to bring your dragons, unfortunately. As fun as they are. Oh no, we lose Technician, too bad. Yep, and was that Giga going to do it? Yeah, crit. That should be it. Okay. Decision time. Screens are down. I don't know how many Pokemon my team has left. I think the best play is to let my team do damage. They seem to be a group of damage dealers. You know, if the opposite were true and I saw a lot of support play from my team, I would just go into something, probably the Metagross, just do a quick Hone Claws and click Hammer Arm. But I will be setting Reflect for the team. And if I stay in, I will just burn and then Light Screen. So Reflect definitely a priority. Light Screen versus Wisp is an interesting question just because you have Thunderbolt from the boss. You do have a bit of special coming from the Elemental Monkeys, I believe. We're hitting some special moves. Infernape also probably carrying something like Flamethrower being mixed. Oh, ability suppression's pretty tough, but luckily we live there. Totally forgot that angle. Yeah, the crits are definitely dangerous for any type of setup, whether it be Reflect or Light Screen. I think generally still worth it because the chance is still relatively low. You're saving more than you're not, but you could just get very, very unlucky in terms of crits. It looks like we're doing pretty well here. We might, the 2 spot I think is out of Pokemon now. Yeah, that is tough, but yeah, I think Wisp is still going to be the move, and then I've got Hammer Arm, Metagross in the back to potentially finish off any chip that we need to. So if the player in the 3 spot doesn't have anything left, if we're keeping this Metagross alive with, okay, we're still up with this Wisp, it could be very good. Oh, we had Air Balloon that whole time. Is interesting. I don't hate Air Balloon that much anymore, just because if you're not like it can definitely mess with the AI in terms of what it's trying to do. So I might hard switch now. That would definitely start baiting Earthquakes. Garchomp, it's going to go for the Ice Punch first. I'm just going to stay in and hope that baits an attack off of the Metagross. And it might be over regardless. But the logic there is I'd rather click something than hard switch to potentially bait an attack because I really won't need Sableye after this. Take the EQ anyway. There it is. So it ends up being a smart play. Get the Light Screen off anyway. And there's the Hammer Arm. probably didn't really matter all that much in the end, but yeah, you're just gonna have to start getting very creative with species and items. It's going to be pretty interesting meta now. Still would really recommend Reuniclus. It carried us in our last fight. Was just being super cautious. You know, when I'm working with a team, it's a different story. But for solo queue, I definitely want to be the support member because you don't see a lot of support in solo queue. So I should say over the course of the last week, you've definitely seen a lot of increase in terms of total number of players like bringing Sableye, other screen setters. I've seen Shiny Electrode, for instance, setting screens. So you can be doing the same. You probably, I would definitely recommend erring on the side of having sort of like a balanced raid team where you've got, you know, if you look at my team, I've got two bulky setup sweepers in Metagross and Reuniclus. I've got a Citrus Berry to kind of cover the lack of leftovers there. I've got two support Pokemon for just quick one and dones, and they allow me to pivot pretty quickly if I get them in, set something, get out quickly. Though I did get stuck on Sableye there. And then two just kind of like quick heavy hitters that I can put in and just chunk some damage. So that's sort of what I'm working with, kind of thinking through what are the things that I need to do for this fight. In the case of Slaking, it's setting burn, setting reflect. Light screen is a nice to have, and kind of just seeing how the fight plays out from there. So good luck on your Slaking fight. Hopefully it goes as easy as it has been for me, though I imagine this is going to be a tough fight for a lot of people. So good luck out there, and let me know if you come into any great Pokemon that works super well or any other strategies. Let me know, and have a good one.